We were told a salary is security, but think about it. You have one customer, your boss. If they decide they don't need you tomorrow, your income drops to exactly zero. Overnight, you are one restructuring email away from financial ruin. The wealthy don't have jobs. They have systems. Today, I'm going to show you why your paycheck is actually a cage, and how to start building what I call a diversified income web. Something no boss, no recession, and number 3 p.m. Friday email can ever take away from you. This isn't motivational content. This isn't a hustle culture speech. This is the honest financial conversation that most people never have, because it's uncomfortable. Because it challenges everything we were taught from the age of 5. And by the time this video ends, you will see money in a completely different way. Stay with me. Let's go back. 1950s America. The deal was simple. You show up. You work hard. The company rewards your loyalty, pension, healthcare. 30 years later, you retire with a gold watch and a party in the break room. That world existed. It was real. And for a generation, it worked. But somewhere between then and now, the deal changed. Companies stopped offering pensions. Corporate loyalty became a one-way street. And the average job tenure in the United States has fallen to just 4.1 years, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. In the UK, it's barely better, around 4.4 years, 4 years. You spend 16 years in school preparing for a career. And the average person changes jobs every 4 years, often not by choice. Here's what nobody tells you when you're sitting in that classroom, dreaming about your future. When you're employed, you feel like you're building something, a career, a reputation, a future. But financially, you are on a treadmill. You're not building anything that belongs to you. Your salary is someone else's asset. Your skills are leveraged by someone else for their profit. Now, I'm not saying having a job is wrong. Work has dignity. A salary is the foundation. But depending on it entirely, that's where it becomes dangerous. Here's a question I want you to sit with right now. If your employer called you tomorrow, first thing in the morning, and said, "We're letting you go," how long could you actually survive? Most financial advisors say 3 to 6 months of emergency savings is the baseline. But surveys consistently show that nearly 60% of Americans couldn't cover an unexpected $1,000 expense without going into debt. In the UK, an estimated 11.5 million adults have less than £100 in savings. Read that again. $1,000, one unexpected car repair, one medical bill, and the house of cards begins to fall. The salary isn't the villain in this story. The over-reliance on it, that's what's quietly dangerous. This didn't happen by accident. From childhood, the question was never, how do you want to build wealth? It was always, what do you want to do for a living? Be something. Become something. A doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. Get a good job. That's success. And look, there's real dignity in work. Honest, deep dignity. But the school system, by design, was never built to create investors. It was built to create reliable, skilled employees. Robert Kiyosaki made this argument famously in Rich Dad, Poor Dad back in 1997, and it still holds. 2 father figures. One with a PhD, climbing the corporate ladder, always stressed about money. The other, without formal education, quietly building businesses and assets. The educated man was technically brilliant. But the wealthy man understood one thing the other never learned: you don't get rich by trading your time for money. Every hour you sell to an employer is an hour gone forever. And you can only sell 24 hours in a day. There's your ceiling, it's right there. Hard and immovable. Warren Buffett said it plainly, and this line sounds simple until you really let it land. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Now, right here. If you're finding this honest and genuinely useful, subscribe to Elite Wealth Hub. We don't do hype. We don't do surface-level advice. We break down the money stories and systems that most channels are too comfortable to touch. Back to the story, because the programming runs deep. And breaking it requires understanding one uncomfortable truth about risk. A truth that most people have completely backwards. Everyone's afraid of investing. Stocks are risky. Property's a gamble. What if you lose it all? And yes, investments carry real risk. Nobody is pretending otherwise. But here's the question almost nobody asks. What is the risk of not diversifying? Let's go to 2020. The pandemic hits. In the United States alone, 22 million jobs were lost in just 8 weeks. March and April of 2020. The fastest collapse in American employment history. Nothing in living memory came close. Now picture two people, same city. Same starting salary, say $70,000 a year. Person A, one income stream, a salary. Solid job. No investments. No side income. Company shuts down. Income, zero. Emergency fund, gone within 3 months. Credit card debt starts accumulating. Person B, same salary. But over 5 quiet years, they'd built 3 other streams on the side. Dividend stocks generating around $350 a month. A small digital product, a template pack, bringing in $500. A spare room listed on Airbnb pulling another $400. Not wealthy, not flashy. But when the job disappeared, roughly $1,200 was still arriving every month. Enough to breathe, enough to not panic, enough to survive and rebuild. Same starting point. Completely different outcomes. And the difference wasn't luck. It wasn't inheritance. It wasn't a viral moment. It was a decision, made years earlier, to not put everything into one basket. And here's the cruel irony most people have never been told. We've been taught that keeping money safe in a traditional savings account is the responsible thing to do. But in 2022, UK inflation hit 11.1%, the highest in 41 years. In the US, it peaked at 9.1% that same June. If your savings account was earning 1%, maybe 2%, and inflation was running at 9%, you weren't saving money. You were losing it, slowly, quietly, every single day. The safe choice was actually the risky one. Let me show you the income web, not a side hustle, not a get-rich-quick scheme. A deliberately engineered system of income streams that reinforce each other, so that if one fails, the others hold. Think of your financial life like an immune system. One virus gets through a single line of defense, everything collapses. But a well-built immune system has multiple layers. Much harder to break. The wealthy don't think in terms of my job. They think in categories. Here's how the income web is built. Strand 1. Earned income. Your salary. Your job. Important, it's the starting capital. But it's the launch pad, not the destination. Strand 2. Investment income. Dividends from stocks, interest from bonds. Index funds tracking the S&P 500, which despite crashes, has averaged roughly 10% annual returns since 1926. Nearly a century of compound growth, through wars, recessions, and pandemics. Strand 3. Rental income. Real estate. Not everyone can buy property outright, but real estate investment trusts, REITs, allow ordinary investors to access rental-style returns with as little as a few $100s. No landlord license required. Strand 4. Business income. This doesn't mean quitting your job and opening a cafe. It means creating a system, however small, that generates value without requiring every hour of your time. A service. A product. A productist skill that runs with some independence. Strand 5. Digital and royalty income. Courses, templates, ebooks, content, digital products that earn money while you're sleeping, commuting, or sitting in your 9th video call of the week. Do you need all 5 immediately? No, nobody builds this overnight. But here's what genuinely surprises people when they experience it. The first additional income stream is the hardest. The most learning, the most discomfort, the most doubt. The second is easier. By the third, something shifts. You stop thinking like someone waiting for a raise. You start thinking like someone who builds things. And if you're finding this genuinely valuable right now, hit the like button. 2 seconds, and it really helps this channel reach people who need to hear this. Jeff Bezos didn't build Amazon by gambling everything. In 1994, he was vice president at hedge fund D.E. Shaw, making serious money. He saw the internet growing at 2,300% annually and made a calculated, structured decision. He left with a plan. He started Amazon out of a garage in Bellevue, Washington, and built the system first, before he leapt. That kind of thinking isn't reserved for billionaires. It's a mindset. And it's completely learnable. Here's the part that makes people genuinely uncomfortable. Because even when people earn more, many never escape the cage. They just get a more expensive version of it. Economists call this lifestyle inflation. The quiet, near-invisible tendency for spending to rise proportionally as income rises. You get promoted. Great, but then the apartment upgrades. The car upgrades. The holidays get longer. The restaurants get nicer, the subscriptions multiply, the salary went up. But so did the baseline. And now you need the salary more than you ever did before, because your life has been built around it. Your mortgage assumed it. Your car payments assumed it. Your entire cost of living assumed the salary would always be there. This is what financial writers call the golden handcuffs effect. The more you earn, the harder it becomes to leave. The higher the lifestyle, the greater the exposure to that single income strand. And in 2008, this played out at catastrophic historic scale. Executives at Lehman Brothers, mid-level bankers at Bear Stearns, mortgage brokers across Florida and Nevada. 6-figure salaries, 7-figure salaries in some cases. But with no diversified income base and lives built entirely on those paychecks, when the collapse came, many lost everything. Not just jobs, homes, retirement accounts, savings built over decades. The salary was the only strand in the web. When it snapped, there was nothing to catch them. So what do you actually do about it? Because I'm not going to tell you to just buy crypto or invest $997 in a course that'll change your life. That's not what this is. The answer is boring. It's gradual, it's completely unsexy, and it works. The income web is not built in a day, but it starts with one decision. Made today. Step 1. Protect the foundation. Before you build anything new, stabilize what you have. 6 months of living expenses in a high-yield savings account. That's your buffer, your base. In the UK right now, easy access accounts are offering 4 to 5% interest. In the US, high-yield savings are competitive too. Stop leaving money earning 0.5% at a bank that hasn't updated its app since 2014. Step 2. Start investing. Small. Consistent. You don't need thousands. Index funds through platforms like Vanguard, Fidelity, or ESA accounts in the UK let you start with as little as $50 or £25 a month. The point at first isn't the amount, it's building the habit. Understanding the mechanism. Letting compound interest do what it does. Albert Einstein reportedly called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. Whether he said it or not, the math is undeniable. $200 a month invested from age 25 at the historical average return of 10% grows to over $1.3 million by age 65, not from a lucky trade. From time. Step 3. Practice one skill. You already have something valuable. A skill your employer pays you for every day. Design, writing, data, teaching, accounting, operations, coding. Ask yourself honestly, could someone outside my company benefit from this skill? If yes, and it almost always is, that skill can become a second income strand, a freelance project, a small digital product, a service offered on the side, not to replace your job, to complement it. Step 4. Automate and reinvest. Set it up so income from every new strand automatically feeds back into investments. Remove the daily decision from your hands. Automation is how wealthy people stay wealthy, not through perfect discipline, but through systems that work without requiring constant willpower. None of this is fast. None of it is glamorous, but it is real. And every month you delay is a month of compounding you don't get back. Here's the final truth. A salary is not evil. It's not your enemy. For most people, it's the best tool they currently have, and for a period of life, it's exactly what you need. But a salary was designed to serve the person paying it, not the person receiving it. The moment you truly understand that, not just intellectually, but in your gut, something changes. You stop asking, how do I get a better job? And start asking, how do I build a better system? You stop optimizing for the next raise. You start building strands, quietly, consistently, over years. The wealthy aren't smarter than you. They're not luckier, in most cases. They just learned, earlier than most, that financial security doesn't come from one source. It comes from many. It comes from a web. And the most important moment in building that web is the moment you decide to start. The salary pays the bills. The web buys back your life. If this video made you think differently about money, share it with one person in your life who needs to hear this. Not to change their job. Just to change the way they see it. That's the kind of conversation worth having. I'll see you in the next one.